There you go. There's the leg kick.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what the heck is going on here. Now my screen's all messed up. Oh, I remember. So, it's nice. What the heck? Where the heck are you guys? Hold on a second.
I'm in Collierville, Tennessee,
Dude, this is like really
in a
bad. We
garage.
we haven't done this in such a long time that now all my settings are messed up. So right now all anybody can see is Caleb. So this is off to a great start, but we get to see Caleb's nice fucking shirt there. Let me fix this. Holy cow.
Josh, seriously, man, get together.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, we take a little bit of time off and it's just like
You're gonna see my messy room in full detail. Oh wow, it zoomed even more.
yeah, I don't know what the heck.
That's messy. God damn it, you're better than me in
I
all
had this
walks
set
of
up all
life.
nice. Is it because I had it over here? This is it. That's not good either. What the heck?
I got this damn little Nation of Islam bow tie going on here.
Anyways, while I work on fixing this, we are on the wrong lead, and this is a absolute shit show of a start here. In the top left, as usual, we have our boy Caleb there, rocking the black tuxedo. In the bottom left, we got Pack. You can't see his tuxedo yet until I fix this. No, we don't want to zoom in on me. Dude, we had this so smooth. I don't know what the heck. It's like my Discord's all fucked up. All right, we'll stay there. Caressing a bottle of Kahlua, we have our boy Chase up there, the wolf himself. And as usual, I am Cherry Drink, who is. Hold on, dude. I have no idea what I did. Well, we're just gonna go with this. Well, this is our year in review show. We did a couple polls. We got some data from you guys. We got some stuff we want to talk about. And we got a lot of whiskey. Caleb, what do you got up there? You had I think you had the best bottle to start.
Yeah, I busted out a nice bottle for the ceremony. Got some High West Midwinter Nights Dram, so it's a nice rye. Hard to get in Pennsylvania, so got lucky.
What do you got over there, Zach? I know someone gave you a good recommendation.
Yeah, I got a recommendation on this, the Maker's RC6, which is one of their limited releases, and very impressed. Quite good stuff. So pick some up today, and I'm enjoying.
Okay, so what year is that Kahlua that you got there?
It's the year that I gave it to my mother-in-law for Christmas. So,
oh, and
Hi,
look at who we got.
oh,
Look who we got. We got our special
look who it
guest who
is.
shows up.
got the
with
official, unofficial Discord shirt on.
Oh my goodness gracious! There is the
that's why
IRAD shirt.
it's why you gotta watch this. You never know who's gonna pop in, man. Fresh out of the
Exactly.
Miata.
The tallest member of our crew over here, Oswald,
Yep.
making a rare appearance here.
He's definitely
Welcome.
the center of this 5-man basketball team. That's for sure.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
unfortunately, on my end, the center is you, Chase, with that lovely, lovely
It's
background you got
Mr.
there.
Kahlua and Storage Wars himself.
Oh man,
It's Mexico's finest premium liqueur, sir.
so we already went around. Oh, I didn't open up my bottle here yet. What do you got there, Ozzy? You got anything drinking over there?
I got a Kentucky Mule because I got some
Yay.
shitty rye, and so I decided to mix it with some ginger beer and actually make it taste good.
Oh, there we go. And I figured since we were going to be talking about racing, we're going to be talking about the Discord. Obviously, I had to pull out the gift I got from the lovely Polka Dot Taylor over here. Thank you again. Yes, I am still nursing this single bottle you sent me a couple months ago. So we'll
Nice
start
guy.
with this, and then I got some other fun stuff to drink here. So, all right. Well, now that we got this this video situation all settled, which I still don't know what happened. Let's talk about the year. What a fucking year, huh? Can you believe that? Can you believe that the year's almost over? We got what? 3 more weeks of semi shitty racing. I mean, we got the big day tomorrow, but outside of that, I mean, next big day is what? Pegasus?
It's a big responsibility we got tonight, guys. We are bringing this fucking decade to a close. Just closing the books on the teams.
Well, you can't ask me about anything more than 2 years old, since I've only been playing the horses like 2 years, possibly.
I'm about the same.
Noted.
At least seriously.
All right, so we polled you guys. We had a couple of questions we sent out there. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna talk about. Let's start from the I guess the lower awards here. We'll probably get through these pretty quick here. So why don't we start with Jockey of the Year? So I know all of us especially love to bitch and complain about the quality of the average ride that we seem to be seeing sometimes here, but yeah, we got actually a pretty wide response from the group here. I mean, we had an overwhelming winner, but I was actually I was pleasantly surprised at the different amount of write-ins we got. We got some international jocks in here. Caleb, what did you seem to think here about jockeys?
It kind of, I'll say that, without giving it away, the winner was probably what I expected and probably deserving. But I thought we had some good variety in the choices. I was a little surprised at the second place choice, given how much shit that individual gets in our Discord. But yeah, I thought the general public kind of got that one right. I don't know if I would probably say should be as overwhelming as it ended up being, but I do think that the choice is probably solid. And it definitely seems like there's an East Coast, just dominated in the polls. There wasn't, I think maybe one West Coast based jockey actually. Well, I guess 2 technically West Coast jockeys got a vote. So it was definitely dominated by the East Coast, which I think, we saw at the closing weekend of Del Mar, where the West Coast jockey colony maybe just isn't that good right now with the state of racing in California being what it is. But I thought it was a pretty telling poll.
Yeah, I mean, how does Perry Oots not win this? I just
so real quick, because this has been bugging me. So yesterday, all right, we're gonna probably toss some different like moments out there, just like random shit that happened this year that we thought was funny. But we had the fucking Smurf guy yesterday. What was his name, Chase?
BL Goff Jr.
So everyone's making this huge deal about fucking BL Goff Jr. winning this race, but dude, Perry Oots I think has got 2 years on him.
Perry Oots also does not look like Papa Smurf. The blue silks definitely didn't help that appearance, and also like with the pattern on the blue silks, he literally looks like Papa Smurf fucked an Oompa Loompa. Dude, he is the greatest man on the planet. I'm leaving this chat to drive to Oklahoma City to go find my new best friend.
Dude, Perry Oots looks
I
pretty
haven't
worn
seen
out.
this guy. I need to find out who this guy is and see what. Yeah,
coming right up.
We need a picture.
Yeah,
Picture for the good people.
See if I can get. Oh yeah, Pollock Report's got this on the freaking front page, huh?
Of course they do.
There you go. Papa Smurf fucked an Oompa Loompa.
Oh my god.
Let's see if I can pull it up.
Yeah.
And big shout out to Ern Carr, who went the extra mile to make the BL Goff Jr. t-shirts.
Dude,
wow.
Unfortunately,
there's a little bit of Santa in there as well, I think.
Dude, that was my thought too.
Yeah.
Your woman is next.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get that picture to load up real good until on here.
Hey, Chase, 10-1 on your 7 here.
Yeah, no, I saw. Let's get that one home. Yeah, it's so hard to come up. Like, I was racking my brain to come up with a jockey of the year, and I think the reason is so hard is because as horse players, we fucking hate all of these people at some point during the year and question their dipshit rides. But it's easy to pick out just like one or two who really dominate, who not only dominate at their in their local circuit, but can pick up and go anywhere in the country and even international. So there are definitely some people who are deserving of it. It doesn't mean I won't hate them again at some point either.
So true.
You got anything, Ozzy? There anybody that stands out to you?
Well, we always love to give shit to Joel. He, on certain days or even certain rides, is the best rider in the world, I feel like. But then there's others that he's the worst, one of the worst riders in the world. So he's definitely tough. He wouldn't have been my vote, but he's definitely up there for me. If he could be consistent, he would be one of the top 1 or 2 riders. But that's just one that I love. I think everyone loves to talk shit about and either ride or die by Joel.
Yeah, he seriously is the most polarizing jockey probably in the country in terms of if he's on a 20-1 closer and I don't have him, I am terrified. If he's on a 6-5 speed horse and I don't have him, I feel pretty good. So
you have to spend the money. The one thing that you can say about Joel Rosario is he's good enough that you have to spend the money to put him on your ticket, every time, because you have to protect yourself. It's like going up against chip brawn horses. You have to spend the money to put the old chocolate chips on the ticket.
Yeah, he's someone that I ended up pretty much putting as a C on almost every ticket just in case.
Got to pay the Rosario tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say about Rosario is, I mean,
Mark, are you watching this?
He seems to have
I am.
Oh no, what's happening?
Not gonna get there though.
Nope.
Yeah, favorite wins.
I completely forgot that it's not good for Cash. Our boy Cash is live in the pick 4 right now. He went not single all. He got the 2 singles home, so now he needs a price, and he just got the favorite. So we're gonna need to price this next one.
And Chase and I were hitting that 7 pretty hard.
So the one thing about Rosario that stands out to me is that I think that he tends to have the most effect over a horse. I feel like he can both bring a horse up as well as drop a horse down with some of his rides. I still think that on a long shot closer, there's nobody else who I'd rather have than Rosario on there. But when it comes to the everyday racing, I voted for what ended up being the overwhelming favorite, who is Irad Ortiz Jr. Our boy Ozzy's got him right there. I don't know if he even knew that he was the winner, but he's got the shirt on.
You were such a bandwagon fan.
Yeah,
Shout out to St. Pierre too for I think St. Pierre's the guy that made those shirts, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So worth it.
Yeah,
worth every penny.
Word on the street is
to you, sir.
Word on the street is Irad now wants one of those shirts, so we'll see if we can.
I hope so.
We'll see if we can get him one. So moving on more into fuck the East Coast trainer of the year. This is another one that I was at least pleasantly surprised that there was more than 3 trainers that got more than 1 vote. So that was nice. I know Pac. I'm pretty sure I know who you voted for, but why don't you talk a little bit about trainers this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the winner here is pretty obvious and probably pretty deserving. I mean, I think probably had the most big, most effect on all sort of the major races throughout the year. trainer who definitely won his share of graded earnings. Did real well. Some people in here that did really well that I'm kind of surprised at. I know Steve Asmussen did really well here, and kind of surprised that. I guess this is hindsight's 2020 sort of a thing. Sort of surprised that he took as much there as he did, considering with the exception of a couple of horses, didn't really have a standout year for him. But yeah, I think this sort of ended up as we all expected it to, and I don't want to linger too long on it.
Whenever you go to a sports book and you bet futures, you can bet, this person, that person, or the field. I feel like this was a good year for the field. You had Jason Sir was winning the Kentucky Derby and having it taken away, and then it goes to Bill Mott. You have Todd Pletcher winning the Classic. You've got this year just wasn't really, excluding turf races, just wasn't really dominated by any all over the place. And I felt like it was a good year for the little guys.
Oddly enough, I don't think Todd Pletcher got a vote.
Wow.
Yeah, if you would have told me going into this that combined Todd Pletcher and Bob Baffert would get 0 votes, I would have, not believed it for a second.
Bob Baffert didn't deserve a single vote this year.
Maybe it had to do with the fact that they might not have been pre-selected choices and you'd have to do write-ins, but still, not to have a single vote for, the most winning trainer, in the past couple of years, and then Pletcher.
All hype though this year.
Yeah, let me tell you a couple of the guys who got 1 vote, and mind you, most of these I think were meme votes, but still, the fact that Baffert or Todd didn't even get a vote. The Dwarf is on here, so and they literally just wrote the Dwarf, so I'm guessing Hollendorfer. That's definitely not right.
It's actually the little guy that used to make the little golf videos. That's the Dwarf that they're talking about, right? Am I right?
Someone put one that doesn't dope horses, and then in quotes, no idea.
That's nobody.
Yeah. Carl Broberg, right after that, which I think is kind of funny.
Sweet irony.
John Sheriff's got a vote. Charlie Baker got a vote. Booger McFarland got a vote.
I just love the name.
Belinda Stronach also got a vote for Killing More Horses, which I don't know about that. And then last but not least, whoever King of Deals uses. I don't know who put that one in. That sounds like a TX.
That's a vote for Saffy Joe.
Yeah, Saffy Joe. Saffy Joe collecting those grade 3 checks, man.
I'm so proud of myself for just now admitting that up until a couple days ago, I thought it was Joseph Saffy, and now I want no part of him. You give me a person with a man bun named Saffy, and I'm fucking out.
He's like Jamaican or something, isn't he? I think he's Jamaican.
I think he's from South Africa, and his family made their fortune on fucking blood diamonds.
Oh no,
maybe.
He was training horses in the Caribbean somewhere. They did a interview on him on the barn. So, but he was training horses out in the Caribbean somewhere. So that's why I thought he was Jamaican. But
So how many votes did Jorge Navarro get? That's the real question.
0.
Because oh, come on, he was definitely trainer of the year, best trainer of all time.
Jorge Navarro, I don't know about that. Yeah, I was with you guys. I was actually surprised how many Steve Asmussen got. Maybe it's coming mostly from Midnight Bisou. I am really bad at remembering who trains who, so that's the only horse I can think of off the top of my head. So I don't know who else. What other big horses did the Assman have this year?
He has this horse named Matoli, who's pretty decent.
Matoli's all right. Hey, like I said, man. Most of the time, I don't even know the horse's name. I just know the number. So, is it a big square? Is it a small circle? What's going on?
What about Brad Thompson and his work with Kofefi? He had runs for some monster races. Setting track records and.
And Brad Cox pretty much owned Kentucky for I think it was at least I know for the spring meet. I think he was winning at some crazy clip, like 30% or something for Churchill. So yeah, he had a great year. Bill Mott was also on here with a bunch of votes. I don't know if I want to talk about Belmont. I'm still hurt.
Let's not talk about it. Now,
Shug got a couple votes.
Shug's coming to Oakmont.
But if you're keeping score at home, you're pretty much like, well, there's only one trainer you guys didn't vote, not mention. So the overwhelming winner here with 46% of the vote was Chad Brown, or what do you like to call him over there, Chase?
Chip.
Who?
Chip Braun. Chip Braun. You know Chip Braun?
He's got a name similar to a world class trainer, Chip Braun. Yeah, he's the man I love to hate reliably, but he's might be the best turf trainer in the world.
Might?
Is I don't like giving him that much credit, but it's our year in recap, so I guess it's time to give credit where credit is due. Like we were saying earlier, you can't leave his horses off of a ticket. Doesn't matter which entry it is, because any of his horses are dangerous. And yeah, it's probably deserved. I'm not happy about it, but it's probably deserved.
I mean, the worst part about Chad Brown, especially for us horse players, is that even if you find a horse that's got like all this dirtied up form that like it could have literally be any other trainer, would be this huge long shot and you'd want to use, he's going to be like 3-1, 2-1. So he tends to definitely bring the odds down on any horse that's got his name attached to him. But for that reason, and the fact that, I mean, he won pretty much every big turf race this year.
Yep.
Yeah. Cleaned house the Classic, cleaned out of Arlington. Yeah. Won everything major at Saratoga. I mean, it's he I don't really know what major turf race he did not win. He just kind of cleaned house. And I think the one thing you can say about Chad Brown is he's of any trainer in the country, he's probably the one who spots his horses the best. And if he's not putting a horse in a race just to collect a check, he's putting it in because that horse is a legit shot to win.
Unless it's a
Except for
rabbit.
Thomas.
Yep. We're on the same page there.
You can honestly say that what he did on Arlington Million Day, like the day that he had, was like watching the Globetrotters play the fucking Washington Generals. Like they were just in a class above. Like, you know,
But you're still rooting for the Generals most of the time.
Yeah, I keep betting the Generals because the point spread is good and they keep getting blown out.
Yep, every time.
Oh, dude, let's not talk about Arlington Million Day. I had the pick 5 and pick 4 for like multiple dollars, and I faded Chip Braun in the last race. I had him like every other race, and I'm like, no, he's got to lose one. The fucker didn't lose anyone.
What was
Also
that
on that
beat
day,
you?
our boy 643 set you up in a police sting that luckily you were able to evade.
Oh yeah, 643. Yeah, I'm over here by the police. You're like,
don't go!
All right.
We got a request to get Oswald a Carson Wentz jersey for the next stream.
Do I look like it?
That's awesome.
I honestly don't know what he looks like.
You don't know what he looks like? Oh, you might need to Google that one.
Yeah.
So, moving on, we got 3 more awards here we want to get through before we talk a little bit more about some other year in review stuff. We got Race of the Year. Now, Race of the Year was a wide open affair, and the race I voted for actually didn't do that well. So we must all have had a pretty different thought on that one. I actually voted for the Test. I thought the Test was the race of the year. That stretch battle going down. I thought I don't know. That was I thought the most exciting race I saw this year. But apparently, I think only one other person agreed with me on that one. So, Oswald, what do you have? What was your race of the year this year?
I hate to say it, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for it.
No, it's
But the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
Yep, I know.
Yep.
I hated it because I lost multiple thousands of dollars off of it, but it was the most seat grabbing 16 minutes or whatever the hell it was waiting to see what the hell's going on. Yeah, thank you. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I would like
Yeah.
like to thank the Kentucky Derby for giving me the opportunity to yell at the top of my lungs, "Country fucking house!"
Yeah. Yeah, it was a huge just surprise in general. Kentucky Derby pretty much before this year has always been really the only race that I really bet. I played some Saratoga in 2018, like decently, but it was really always what kicks off the year for me, and that was a way to pretty much get a little bit of a fire in me to really fire back and actually win some money because I was pissed about that. But it was also a fun race to watch.
Yeah,
I was
gonna
at. I mean, the people got this one wrong. I was at the Kentucky Derby, and I wouldn't have voted for the Kentucky Derby. I mean, the top three choices I'd have had were three of the lower. Well, there's a bunch of one-offs, I suppose, but yeah, the two top choices were both races that I would not have put in my top five. So I think the people missed this one, or maybe I'm a little bit weird, but those were not races I would have aligned with.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was with a personal ensign. Personally, I was at a bunch of these actually. Both the test and the personal ensign both did really well on our voting, along with the Travers did okay. But I mean, for me, that personal ensign stretch drive was that was the race setup you wanted to see. You wanted to see Midnight Busu in a late and who's the best, and you wanted to be straight up and fair, and that's exactly what you got for the entire front stretch. And it was awesome, and I was there, and it was the highlight of my summer at Saratoga. That was the race that I look back the most fondly on from this past Saratoga meet, and for me, it was the race of the year.
I really enjoyed a $5,000 claimer at Zia Park last week. I'm gonna throw out another race that for me was all personal heartbreak, but I believe it was the Woodward with Vino getting DQ'd there because it was even with before the inquiry objection, which was it was a great stretch battle, and you ended up with something to talk about afterwards of Wood Vino battled back and had a Wood code of honor.
The race you want is the Jockey Club Gold Cup, by the way.
Yes, that's what I meant.
I mean, you were close. The Woodward's at Saratoga, so you're at least in the right circuit,
Yeah, there we go. What the Woodward was just the one where I hammered Preservationist over Ball Harbor Ice Cold, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my vote for race of the year then, asshole.
The Jockey Club Gold Cup would have been a great race if not for the DQ nonsense. Similar to Kentucky
The world's
Derby,
worst DQ.
Yeah, I mean, similar to the Kentucky Derby, regardless of what you think, justified or not justified.
I'm just saying that we lost. The Discord lost the amount of a small country's GDP in that DQ. All right, we have multiple six figures that were lost in that race. So fuck that race.
Yeah, I mean, my vote was I was really between the Met Mile, the test, and the personal ensign. I ended up going for the Met Mile because I think there may have been better stretch tools in the other one, but I still think the Met Mile is probably one of the better fields we've seen assembled this year. But the two of those three ended up getting a few votes, but still a distant ways behind the top two choices by the public. But yeah, I thought the Met Mile was a good race.
Met Mile was McKinsey's best race all year. Finished second.
I'll tell you what, one race that got I don't think had a single vote on here, and to me was an absolutely phenomenal race as well, was the Vanderbilt of Saratoga, where you had Imperial Hint break is setting the track record, beating Diamond Oops and Matol, and I'm trying to think, Freezing Fire was in there. I mean, some legitimate horses, legitimately good horses. And and that one I don't even think got a single vote. So I mean, there were some very, very, very good races that this year.
However, Low Sal every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday did get a race or did get a vote. So,
wonder who voted for that.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't TX. Definitely wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't TXGI for sure.
Yeah, and he also says he hasn't smoked today. Yeah, that's another bullshit
That's a
lie
lie.
right there. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, our top three ended up being the Met Mile, which that was my second choice actually. Kentucky Derby was our second choice, and then the Breeders' Cup Sprint was actually our race of the year.
Slept through it.
Well, you were also you
Yeah.
were also on quite a few pain pills there. So, how many days removed from surgery were you? Like 3 or 4 days removed?
What? I had surgery that Monday and it was on Saturday, so 5.
5
That
days.
math right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we do have to talk about something. Speaking of you being just completely asleep. Does anyone else? I mean, I don't know if this actually got out on public, if it was just in our private chat, but Chase, how long did you sleep and then just wake up and then essentially gave out the try in like some kind of like Nostradamus on pain pills over there?
It was I fell asleep shortly after the start of that pick six sequence went final, and all of my tickets were finalized at that point also. And then I randomly woke up 5 minutes before of the classic.
Perfect timing.
Yes, for me, yes it was.
And actually, the way it kind of went was something like Pac was just like inconsolable. He was just on tilt, and he's like, fuck this. He's like, guy, give me a try. I need a try. And I'm actually, the funny thing is, I had a show that night, so I'm like sitting there on my phone, and I just see Pac just losing his shit, just trying to get a hold of Chase. Just be like, dude, I need a try right now. Like, give me something. And fucking out of his slumber, he fucking sends a try. Boom, he hits. I think you guys hit for like what, like $900 or something like that, because I think you had it for like $2 or $3.
Yeah.
It was a $5 pay, $980, and it was what it would have been on a 50 cent. It would have been a $4 ticket. It was because it was a $40 play.
Yeah, and I think I had it for $5 or $10, something like that. I mean, it was enough that it sort of offset the horrendous weekend that I was having. Made you chuckle that you and your whatever drugged out stupor.
You guys are making it sound like
hey,
like a
here you
Martin
go.
Sheen at the beginning of Apocalypse Now or something. Just,
Dude, you were like
doing Tai Chi in a fucking Vietnamese hostel in front of a mirror.
You were like fucking Rip Van Winkle waking up from a 10-year slumber, just sitting there and being like, what year is this?
Is Vino Rosso still running?
All right, so let's move on to 3-year-old of the year here. Chase, why don't you take this one? What did you think of the 3-year-olds here this year?
Clear as mud, pretty much. I mean, maximum security is DQ'd. The owners throw down the gauntlet and then bitch out, and throw down the gauntlet and then bitch out, and you don't really see max security again. You've got
except for tomorrow.
Yeah. But he hasn't run yet, and my vote was due before then, Mark. The Derby Trail just never really. Since I'm a Oakland guy, I went ahead and I decided on I love Omaha Beach, and I feel like it should have been you, and that Bob Baffert, you dirty bastard, why did you trap his epiglottis somewhere? Like, unlock Omaha Beach's epiglottis, Bob Baffert, you son of a bitch. But I mean, the way he raced in the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby, just putting away horses, he looked so impressive, and he's my what could have been story. So that's who I really like.
I mean, I gave the public a lot of shit for getting the last one wrong. I'm really happy they got this one right, at least in my opinion. I think this vote is more of a damnation of the 3-year-old class than it is of a praise of any one horse. Omaha Beach got a sizable number of votes for a horse that didn't race for half the 3-year-old season. And that just goes to show how inconsistent the crop has been. I thought it was a pretty, interesting vote. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have voted for Omaha Beach. I think you need to have a more complete campaign, but I do think that he could have been the best horse in this crop, had he not had some issues.
The funny thing about the 3-year-old crop, it reminds me of the 3-year-old males remind me of all those horses that you hate, Caleb. Oh, fuck, like Zulu Alpha,
Oh my God.
Channel Maker. Who the fuck else is in there?
Channel
Arklow,
Cat.
Channel Cat,
Channel
Arklow.
Dude, they just all take turns beating each other, and you just gotta hope that you bet the right one.
Yeah.
I mean, between Code of Honor, Max Security, Omaha Beach, fucking Tax won a race. Like, it's just like, it was really hard to pick one. I personally actually voted for Maximum Security. But I didn't really feel great about voting for any of these horses. But what do you think, Caleb?
I was just
Sorry, Pack.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there were two people in here that voted for one horse that I was shocked got any votes, but I feel like whoever those two people are need a massive pat on the back because they're a very astute handicappers, and that's Concrete Rose. She was absolutely phenomenal. Winning what the Turf Triple Tiara now thing that they refer to it as. So it's the Edgewood, the Belmont Oaks, and the Saratoga Oaks. Has run phenomenally well and was against it multiple times from pace setups, and won just absolutely convincingly. So I thought that was a pretty slick horse that a couple of people landed on, and not one that I even thought of. And I just was sitting here looking at the results and going, "Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize people actually went there." Got to be fairly astute. You got to be kind of you're not just watching your Kentucky Derbies of the world to come up, or your Breeders' Cup to come up with that horse. You're somebody who's definitely paying attention. That's pretty cool. But I, for one, was a little boring, and I chose the horse that won won the category. For me, it was a 2-horse race, and I think the average.
Did you already speak on this, Oswald? Who do you have here?
So first off, I wanted to go back to Omaha Beach real quick because I didn't know if we were going to talk about that more, but everybody I feel like had Omaha Beach, at least most people did, going into the Kentucky Derby. I mean, he was the favorite, and I personally was on panic mode once I found out that he was scratched because he was pretty much a single A for me. Maximum Security honestly wasn't really on my radar much because he hadn't, at least for me, hadn't won much. So I just wanted to recap that because that was a big deal for me going into the Kentucky Derby. But I'm pretty sure I had the same vote as just about the majority people who actually won this. But I ended up wanting to go with the filly for this because the males weren't very good.
And who was that, Oswald?
Well, I wanted to go with. I went with Kafifi, actually. I don't know if that's actually who won. I don't have the results, but Kafifi was who I really liked.
That's who won, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Kafifi
a pretty.
was very good.
Yeah, it was pretty wide open. Kafifi finished with 33% of the vote. Max Security had a little bit over 25%. And then Code of Honor, whoever voted for Code of Honor is completely wrong. With 19%.
Those people are all idiots. They're all just they're just terrible. They're
Wow.
the worst. They're all wrong.
Yeah.
Wait, vote for me for Sir Winston.
Was there? There wasn't a vote for Sir. Was there?
No, I just entered it.
Oh, there we go.
I want to recount with my one Sir Winston vote.
Oh, that's... Yeah.
2 words: Bodie Express.
Bodie Express. One person did put in Country House ! What a horse.
Kentucky Derby winner.
Pow Show also got a vote here. Spun to Run got a vote, and then we did have two. Actually, we had 2 votes for tags. And I do know now who TXGI's responses are, since the same person also voted for tax for Horse of the Year.
You've been outed.
And that person also voted for Los Al every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I wonder who that is.
So let's, amongst us, I have to ask, I know we have the cigar mile tomorrow, which could change things, but if you were going to do 3-year-old male, as it stands today, who's it go to?
Ooh.
Oh, it's maximum security. Easy.
Spun to Run wins tomorrow. Does that change your opinion?
Yes.
Does it go to Spun to Run?
I have no fucking clue what I would do with Spun to Run. I mean, I guess I have no fucking clue. Then 3-year-old is just fucked. Like,
it's an uninspiring bunch when a filly sprinter wins a popular vote for Horse of the Year. I mean, that's bad. Take nothing away from Kovefi, but still.
Are you talking
could win the table and win it last year? Kovefi did it as a female filly sprinter this year.
I mean, I honestly I think if maximum security wins one more big race, I mean, this is I think this is an easy answer. But unfortunately he they took that weird fall campaign with him and they were pointing to this race, and then I'm guessing they're going to point to the Pegasus, right? That's got to be the logical spot for him.
Yeah.
You just got me thinking here. We're talking about max security and how he might be like clear cut horse of the year, and does the cigar mile change anything? And then cigar mile, and you've got Whit forewarned, pat on the back, Nicodemus network effect, and then we look back at the Kentucky Derby, and it's, I mean, how many of those Kentucky Derby runners can you still name right now outside of Country House?
Vekoma?
Code of Honor.
Yeah, Plus K Parfait, because of the name is really French and gay. Like that's so it sticks with you. That, so it's basically what we just awarded was king shit of Turd Mountain. Like there was nothing, and him beating up on other just subpar crop of 3-year-old is never.
I don't know, man. I think you're being a little harsh. I mean, I think Omaha Beach.
I got a lot of Kahlua running through me.
I think Omaha Beach, Max Security, and Code of Honor are legit horses. I mean, we'll see.
But none of them ever ran together. Well, I guess Code of Honor was in the Kentucky Derby. See, I forgot that. So,
yeah.
Point driven home.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the 3 of them are legit horses, and hopefully going forward. Oh, you hear Oswald making a little drink? I hear the little ice out of the copper cup. Yeah.
Whoops.
But yeah, I think far and away Kovefi, the more I thought about it, definitely deserved to be the 3-year-old of the year. Just absolutely dominated her division.
Yep, I agree.
That's what I voted for.
Yeah, I voted for her as well. And
now for the category that had the most overwhelming winner. And this will probably be. I'm guessing all of us probably voted for this horse. But this is for Horse of the Year here. We had a number of horses getting votes here. But there was a very overwhelming winner here. Only toss it back to you, Caleb. What did you think? I think you probably went with the overwhelming winner here.
Yeah, I did. I think there was kind of going into Breeders' Cup weekend. There were 3 horses I think that had a chance to stake their claim for Horse of the Year. The 3 I would have said had a legit case would have been Midnight Bisou, Matoli, and Bricks and Mortar. Bisou didn't get the job done, so I think that definitely impacted her chances. which kind of left it to be a 2-horse race at that point between, Matoli and Bricks, with maybe Vino Rosso in there, depending on what you think of him as well. And I think the voting went pretty much the way that it should have and the way that I expected it to go. The horse that I voted for ended up being the overwhelming winner and the horse that will, in all likelihood, win the Eclipse Award for, Horse of the Year at the end of the month. But yeah, I think this one was pretty cut and dry, I thought. I do have to ask, Mark, did you vote for Voodoo Song? I have to know.
Believe it or not, Voodoo Song was not me. I saw it on there, and I was absolutely shocked that somebody else is a Voodoo Song fan. I mean,
we did have one Voodoo Song vote. God bless.
Oh, I'm investigating this right here.
We also had a vote for Pal's mom.
Well, the interesting thing about the Voodoo Song vote is that person also voted for Zach Purton for Jockey of the Year. So it's got to be somebody who watches Hong Kong. Interesting.
Yeah, I bet I know who that is then.
Ooh, Handicap of the Year, Hogs.
Oh, it's an old school. It's a Redditor.
It's a Redditor there. Holy cow! I wonder who that is. Yeah, when I looked at the votes, my 1 and 2 seemed to finish first and second. And I thought that this had a really pretty clear top 3 horses. I always forget about this third horse, and which is Matoli, because I always forget that Steve Asmussen trains Matoli. I think outside of the clear-cut winner here, I think my vote would have probably gone to Vino Rosso for Horse of the Year, which is kind of funny because after the Derby last year, the horse ran a couple more times and kind of thought that was going to be it, and actually came back and had a really, really good 4-year-old campaign. I think they said are they gonna run next year too, or is this it for Vino? I don't remember.
He's done.
He's done.
Yeah, I think a
head to the shed
win wraps it up.
Yeah.
When I thought of Horse of the Year, I got super lazy, and it was like Heisman voting. Where the best player on the number 1 Heisman, and so for me, Vino winning the BC Classic was like, yeah, okay, might as well be Vino Rosso. Also, he was on top of my my big nasty trifecta too. So, Horse of the Year in my book.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I voted for the winner here. That took the massive majority share. Who I just can't fault. Their entire campaign. Horse was perfect on the air. Just ran massively huge. Every time, and showed that he's much more versatile, I think, than a lot of people had thought of him going into the year. I think most people had thought he wouldn't be able to stretch out, and he did. So, was really, really, really impressed with him. And I think
so. It's he then. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you can't assume gender. It's 2019.
It's almost 2020.
Shout out to the person who voted in a pony for Horse of the Year, the Pizza Man.
But yeah,
right for tax.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no vote for tax. That's definitely TX. And Oswald, since you said you haven't seen the results, in case you were wondering, the Horse of the Year winner was
Hidden Scroll.
Oh.
Dude, so here's the thing. So I mean, Bricks and Mortar, obviously the far and away winner, but how many fucking times did we try to beat this horse this year? How many times? I swear to God, there were at least three solid times where I'm like, I think this is the time that I'm going to try and beat this horse. And no, fucking horses kept winning, man. I just don't learn my lesson.
I don't know why you guys hate him so much.
I don't. That was one where I did try to beat him once, and then I figured he's so damn good, I'm going to let the field beat me. I'm going to take him and single him hard, and if I get beat by the field, screw it. He's good enough to where I'm singling him.
So the first time I tried to beat Bricks and Mortar was the Pegasus Turf. I was like, this fucking horse hasn't run in months. This horse is out of shape. There's no way this horse is going to win this. Yeah. I learned my lesson though, at least for Oaks Day and Singledom, or not Oaks Day, Kentucky Derby Day, right? Singledom, and was live to Baffert and Baffert's entire barn and fucking Max Security in the Derby, but yeah, it was. After that, I just tried to beat the horse like every fucking time, and yeah, just kept proving me wrong. So
Yeah, I tell you those last 3 races when you talk about Manhattan, Arlington Million, and then the Breeders' Cup Turf. That is like murderer's row of races. I mean, that's very 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 legitimate. And yeah, I think I will be shocked if he doesn't win Horse of the Year.
Yeah, and I think Cherry or Josh, I think that the reason why you might have been trying to beat him every time is he wasn't running away with all these races. Like he wasn't winning by 5-10 lengths every time. It's usually by, I mean, a length or two. And like they were very impressive, but it's not like it was a huge win or anything like that every single time. But he was obviously pretty easily winning these races, and I could understand you trying to beat him with those kind of races that he was running.
yeah, that's also just kind of how turf racing ends up being, though. I think you don't really get that many like huge runaway winners most of the time, but yeah, every time you thought that, oh, maybe he's gonna trail off, oh, maybe he's not gonna like the distance, oh, maybe he's not gonna like the surface, and just I mean every time he came up huge.
Yeah, I mean, I take nothing away from Bricks and Mortar. He probably will win. He should win. He's who I voted for. But I think it's probably a little closer between him and Matoli than the results might indicate. I mean, I think he had like Bricks had something like 60% of the votes. Matoli had like 10 or 12 as the second choice. And it's, Bricks got some breaks. The Europeans didn't send their best to the Breeders' Cup. Anthony Van Dyke had some traffic issues in the stretch. I mean, he had a couple breaks go his way, whereas Matoli, he caught that dead rail that one time in Saratoga, and what race was that, Mark? You'll remember, not the Vanderbilt, the Amsterdam, yeah. And that was enough to do him in. Great horses, typically overcome, bad racing luck, and Bricks and Mortar managed to do that and get a few breaks. But I do think they're probably a little bit closer than what the results might show. But he definitely should be the winner.
So with obviously recency being the first thing in people's minds, what happens to Horse of the Year if Matol wins tomorrow? Does that you think that's enough to shake it so that he beats out Bricks? I mean, I think
if who wins tomorrow?
If Matol wins tomorrow.
You mean Maximum Security?
No, I mean Matol isn't he?
Whitmore's running tomorrow. Matoli's retired.
I'm sorry. Okay, you got me. You're right. I'm sorry. Brain is not working. Sorry.
If Matoli wins tomorrow, man, that's going to be.
If he wins from the breeding shed, then I will vote.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow,
the shot heard around the world.
Yeah, so that kind of wraps up the stuff that we had. I mean, we had asked a couple other questions to get kind of some talking points to go through. But that kind of wraps up the voting portion of this. I did want to talk about a couple other just like fun things, more I guess Discord centric. So I know you're probably not prepared for this at all, Oswald, but hopefully you remember some of this stuff. But we'd come up with a couple of like fun categories between us that we wanted to talk about. So let's see if anyone remembers these races. So as we all love to discuss, we all love and hate Joel Rosario quite a lot. So we came up with a small short list of Rosariodes of the year here. And one of these I don't expect anybody to really remember because I just remember this race because it broke up a shit ton of tickets and caused a carryover. But the ones I had listed here, Sir Winston in the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah.
Look at fucking Caleb. That's exactly what ends up happening anytime.
He's done.
Yeah. Speaking of Caleb's favorite horse here, Channel Maker in the Man of War. Mo Forza in the Qatar Twilight Stakes, which was on Breeders' Cup weekend. I remember that one. Everyone would be like, Mo Forza. That was another one
from like the 27 post too.
Yeah, dude, that was fucking nuts. It's from the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then the other one I put down here is I put down Shock Therapy, which this fucking horse, I have no idea how Rosario won with this horse, but if you have time, it's from June 14th, Belmont Race 7. Look it up. This race ended up fucking causing the carryover at Belmont on the pick 5. So take a look at that one if you get one.
And the name is fitting because shock therapy might be the only thing that can pull you out of the depression that you can slip into after being so thoroughly Rosario.
I mean, dude, I was thinking about this because it was really hard to make this list because there's just like so many these shitty little races, just like these claiming races or low level allowance races where he's you think that he's just like on a horse just to collect a check or whatever, and then here he comes with no business having to win, just fucking scoops on in, closes out of the fucking clouds.
He realizes out of the ether,
but yeah, man. I voted for the Sir Winston ride. I still I have to think really hard when I think who won the Belmont Stakes this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Rosario, you're going to remember one that cost you money. And Rosario in the Belmont, I mean, I had the pick 5 going. I think there was a 2-day pick 6 that weekend. And I had that going to War of Will and Tacitus. I'm like, I can't lose. I got the only 2 horses anyone's betting. And, lo and behold, Tacitus does Tacitus things and falls on his face and forgets which way to run. And, Rosario rides the golden rail, kicks out, and just beats me to the punch. So, that's definitely the one that I remember. You could probably have a separate list for the same category. Instead of losing to Rosario, you could have races where you had favorites that he lost for you with just inexplicably confusing rides. And it would still be applicable. So it's definitely a fun category.
Hold on. I want to defend Rosario's honor for a second, okay? Because I believe he was set up early in this year. All right, he was set up with this horse. I feel he had absolutely no responsibility for what ended up happening to this horse, and he got thrown under the bus for no reason. And Oswald, I heard you mention this horse a little bit earlier. Horse that just fucking disappeared. Hidden Scroll. Yeah. I think that they should not have taken Rosario off of that horse. He rode the horse how I think the horse needed to be ridden, and sure enough, ended up getting into a fucking pace stool. It melted. Horse lost. Okay, but then what ends up fucking happening the next time out? They put a new rider on him. They rate him, and gets blown out anyways. And I think that was the Florida Derby, right? That Max Security sat on the slowest lead ever and just fucking wired that. I mean, if they would have actually sent Hidden Scroll, who knows what would have happened. But at the same time, yeah, it kind of is his fucking fault because he's just an idiot sometimes, I feel like, with some of these rides. But if I had a horse that had absolutely no business being in a race, that's a jock I think you toss on, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to pull the victory from the jaws of defeat, or the defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
Either way.
We need to come up with a name for the sinking feeling that you get when the first race in a sequence goes fine, and then you look at the next race and you realize that you left Joel Rosario off of your ticket. And it's like, it's already locked in. There's absolutely nothing I can do right now. Just that, heart thrown down into your stomach, butthole puckering sensation that you get when you realize that all the money that you already spent in your head is fucking gone because you just didn't see that Joel Rosario, the PP.
Just imagine this, right? Being in like a pick 5, right? And fourth leg, right? You get your single home. You're live to like 4 horses. But in that fourth race, Jock got thrown off, right? Jock's hurt. Can't get on a horse in the 5th race. Who doesn't have a mount? Joel Rosario. All of a sudden, you realize that there's no way you could have predicted that you were not covered to Rosario in the last leg of a pick
all
5.
of my money on it.
You're describing my hell.
Sounds like the Frosted situation, right?
Oh,
Look, that's another. I wonder if Caleb lost money on that one.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I enjoy the Larry Collins Frosted commercial where they don't show the race, they just talk. You know, it's just Larry Collins talking, and there's a part where he yells, "And Frosted has literally exploded." He doesn't say literally, but you can't see the screen, and the way he's screaming, it's like fucking Hindenburg has gone up in flames, and you're like, did this horse really explode during a race? That's just the shit that runs through my head on these pills.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'll tell you guys.
Well, speaking of Rosario, did want to talk a little bit about. We did have our moment of the year, and we were going to talk a little bit about. We were going to put it to a vote or talk about what actually the moment of the year was, but I think it'd be a little bit more fun if we actually kind of went around and talked a little bit about some of these big moments. Mac, what do you think? What was your favorite moment from Discord? Just like all the fucking nonsense.
Oh, geez, my favorite moment. I don't know. I think B Marks' Daily Double has to be my favorite one of the year. It was perfect. I mean, the fact the guy, is single a massive double to an absolute bomb in the last leg at Belmont, and somehow pulls it off and wins, a small house, on a freaking Daily Double, and the response to that is just, I mean, he has the room on video, and you have the actual live response to that race happening, and it's priceless.
He scares the dog. You see the video, and you're shot. First you hear about the bet where he singles a 32 to something, a 30 to something shot in the second leg, singled, stone cold singled, and then you see the video, and you're shocked to find out that he's not bow-legged from his ginormous ball.
Yeah.
And then the Tiger Woods leg kick with the double hinge at the end, like it's one kick, but then it comes down, and then it's like a weird like puppet leg that poops back out. It was fucking amazing, and it was so enjoyable.
Oh, if you get it with the audio, it's even better. The dog starts going fucking wild, and it makes it.
And then his wife knows to ask, "There's no inquiries, right?"
Oh, dude, I heard that, dude,
Yeah.
and I was just like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!"
Don't
That is a
jinx it.
keeper.
Yeah, verbatim.
And then she's like the
So
dog
it's
was
legit.
freaking
No
out.
inquiries, no objections. Cool.
Oh, that's the best.
Cool.
What about this one? This one happened very early, and so the folks who are new to Discord might not remember it. Also, it's been a while since it happened, but Papo's YouTube video of the 60 to 1 shot at Turfway with commentary, calling Perry Wayne Oots everything but a child of God was just absolutely amazing. Him and his Detroit accent was just like, "Come on, Perry!" This fucking guy goes to the rail every, and yeah, it one of those moments where it's just so fun to be in Discord because everyone is making money, everyone is having fun, and everyone has just a top-notch joke about what just happened.
The best part was about that, which I thought was fucking hilarious, was somehow that video started like trending on Twitter, on the horse racing Twitter, because all of a sudden like we saw like these people joining, and then I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was you, Mark, or somebody was like, "Dude, Papo's on Twitter," because I forgot. I don't remember if it was Ed DeRosa or someone had shared the video of him, and I just remember reading one of the guy's responses was something like, I don't know if this fucking guy is crazy or he knows what he's talking about. It's just like, oh my god. I just remember the worst part about that moment was the fact that I forgot where I was, but I wasn't playing that night. And fucking Papa was like, I thought you would have had that one. I was like, dude, I wasn't at my computer. But man, that was fucking nuts, man. That I think like the entire Turfway meet last winter was just like fucking crazy. We had the entire Discord playing Turfway Park, and just like
Every night.
just
Yeah, we were probably half the pool.
half the
Yes.
pool dude just fucking hammering that outside bias, and we were just getting like 15 to 20 to 1s home every fucking night. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that horse in question from the video went off like 70 to 1. It was something just absolutely absurd. And pretty much, 3/4 of the Discord had that horse at 70 to 1. It was a fucking shit show.
And it was enough of a surprise horse that it was one of those very times where 3 pays out 2 of 3. Like that, it was that much of a shocker, and it was him. God, like I just sometimes when I can't sleep, I just replay him yelling at Perry in my head and just go to my fucking happy place.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta pull this up. Where the heck is it?
Kahlua neat. Ooh.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good at all.
It's like coffee Robitussin. Fuck
on
me.
him to win.
Bro.
If this horse wins, this is going to be nuts.
I'm pulling this up here. Hold on.
This will be
Good.
nuts.
Are you showing?
Okay, I got a minute.
I think it was
before
Ed
the
DeRosa
race.
that shared
I'll
that.
try
I
to
think
keep
you're
it
right,
short
Josh.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at Turfway Park. It's the
That's
second
really what
race,
got me
and it's,
into biases. I didn't really know what a
January 17th,
real bias was
and,
up
we're
until that
playing the
point.
outside of the track.
And it
We're
taught
on
me.
Discord again talking about this outside bias. I got all the guys convinced. Everyone's alive to the 7 and the 9. We are playing the 7 and the 9. The 7's like 5 to 1. The 9's, I don't know, he was 40, 50 to 1.
Yeah,
And
Turfway's had
I
a pretty
overbet
strong
this
outside
damn
bias
horse. I got
for as long as
so
I can
much on him to
remember,
win.
especially as the
It's
winter
like
drags
you said
on.
with Chalk. I also have a
So,
7,
I mean, I don't think,
inside the box.
or
And
I
I got
don't think they've
daily
changed it with
doubles
Churchill taking over,
cashing
but it'll be
to the
worth watching.
7 and the 9 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys are
Couldn't
watching,
play 'em with the
Papa's
8
live to the
because,
7 and the 9 here. The
big
9's the
favorite
horse
won
that's
the
like
first race.
80 to
So
1
we
or
need
70
an
to 1 or
outside
whatever.
bias. All we need is
I
for
don't
this
see
track
anything.
to run the same way
Oh,
it's been running.
let me see. I can share my screen.
I can see it on the
I can see it.
YouTube.
It comes up on YouTube.
It's not going to show on the
Our
Discord call.
9's like 50
Oh,
to 1.
okay.
Our 7 went
There we
right to the rail. What the?
I remember watching this video
Our
though.
7 went right to the rail. What
That's
the?
a 7.
Make sure the audio's on.
Oh, it's
Went
on.
right to the rail. Look at this guy. I don't know.
Come
I'm
on,
a
Perry.
professional jockey. I don't know what the track's doing.
I'm a professional jockey. I don't know what the track is doing.
That was it. Yes.
We got, where's this?
Oh,
9?
I'm a professional jockey. I don't know what the track's
9's dead
doing.
last.
He's like, we got nothing.
God, 7, why are you on the rail?
I can't even hear it, and I'm dying.
I don't think we got anything.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can replay this all in my head. I probably haven't seen this video in 6 months or
Dude.
something.
Yeah.
January 17th is when this was.
Yeah.
So this was like the 16th of January.
The 7's
We need
still
to
on the rail.
make
Oh,
sure
here
that
comes
we
the 9.
celebrate the 1-year anniversary of this.
Like, this
And
nine's barely in the picture.
Yeah, I know.
This horse is off the field. Come on, keep him wide and keep him coming.
Keep them wide and keep them coming. I remember that one too.
Yep.
Come on, 9. Come on, 9. Get this 9 home for
Oh,
me. Get this 9.
money, money, money,
Get this
money.
9, baby.
Oh man.
9.
Yeah. So Papa doesn't. I mean, he pops in every once in a while still, but he's got his own channel, the Shake Up. I think you got to search for Paul Arnold, but you should check him out when he does his live streams. He's hilarious. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So that's some
Yeah.
handicapping. There we go. Oh man, that's fucking great.
Here he comes.
Did Papo show up in general?
I don't think so.
Someone
Oh,
summoned
Pow did
Pablo.
though. Ew.
Oh
Oh,
no.
Well, that's a good topic of villain of the year. Would he be?
Actually, the funny thing about villain of the year is we ended up uh lo and behold, I was actually very surprised and very proud that it seemed like pretty much it was either Santa Anita or TSG were like I think made up something like uh 70 or 80% of the votes it had to have been.
Wow.
It was a significant amount.
It's about 60.
60?
I would have
Yeah.
voted for Powell for sure.
You got a lot of write-in votes. I'll tell you that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot when it was, but I think I had I stood on my soapbox at some point in one of these streams and kind of talked about how fucking dumb the handling of some of that stuff was. But
Tone deaf, you say? It was.
yeah,
I
tone
remember
deaf.
it. It was
Absolutely,
so tone.
just tone
Yeah.
deaf. Like it's just like I don't know. I always get a kick out of people who like there's a clear problem, and instead of trying to look for a solution to the problem, they point the finger elsewhere and be like, no, there's a problem. You know, like you want to complain about PETA and all the nonsense that they do. Like you can't complain when all these horses are dying and you're still not really taking much action and not doing anything. Like, sure, you can point out how terrible some other organization is, but doesn't mean that you're any less or more terrible. I mean, you still got to look inside a little bit. So, that's my big problem with the TSG, and I think it came a little bit to the head with the Breeders' Cup with the unfortunate accident that happened with Mongolian Groom. But I mean, there was a nice wide. It seemed like they were ready to move to Churchill, and then they decided not to at some point. And next thing you know, the Breeders' Cup guy is now head of the TSG or something, isn't he? Isn't he like a president now for TSG? He used to be for the Breeders' Cup or other way around. So I don't know. It just looks bad. It looks bad. I think it's like I said, it's rather tone deaf, but luckily for me, I don't do well at TSG tracks, so so I can skip playing them and not feel too bad. But I don't remember
My villain of the year is Cherry for making us listen to and get on his soapbox.
After I said I wasn't gonna get on my soapbox, yeah, isn't that it's very classic. Look at. It's like that Ron Burgundy. He's like, "Oh, I am not prepared at all," and he pulls the flute out of his shirt pocket,
out of his sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, Pow is always going to be my villain of the year, no matter what. Even if he's not here for a year, he is my villain.
He had quite a few running votes.
Yeah.
The Kentucky Stewards, I did not vote for, but I should have because fuck those guys. But yeah, that seemed pretty straightforward. But
I mean, there's a lot you can hate about the Strana group, even outside of Santa Anita. I mean, the fact, the whole race day meds, the whips, everything else they've done, the getting in bed with PETA. But the thing that really gets me the most is those fucking post times at Gulfstream. Oh my god, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Then what was it? It was Bet America that they royally fucked like the day of the Preakness. They pulled they took all rights to bet on Stronach tracks away from Bet America. Just completely screwed a section of horse players who might only use that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's rough. Like I remember I used to listen to the that Bet America podcast, the Jason Beam one. I pretty much listened to it on a daily basis, and I just remember like the day that they pulled it off. He's like, "Well, I wanted to talk about the Preakness, but I can't." And it's just like, there's just all that crazy infighting, between DRF and Churchill, Stronach, everybody. Hopefully at some point they figure it out. But who knows? It's it's nice to see that at least now it seems like Naira, Churchill, and TVG. I mean, just like they seem to at least kind of be on speaking terms again, and working on stuff like the cross country pick fives and stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
He's just turned into essentially Sean Spicer for the Stronach group at this point. Like I feel like they're only there to sing the Stronach group's praises like half the time, which I think a lot of that has to do with where they're located and Santa Anita, Del Mar being right in their backyard. They probably have to, but
what are you talking about? They're based out of Oregon, just like all the other ADWs.
Hey, that's me.
Haven't you ever seen all that like weirdness about how the ADWs are all like based out of Oregon? Because probably for some
it is pretty weird.
Yeah,
but you can have a stakes race somewhere going to post, and TVG will cut away. It's like, well, it's time for a $10,000 claimer at Gulfstream. It's like, all right, take it away, announcer Pete.
How about
Pack disagrees. Counterpoint. What do you got?
How about RPXL? Remember him?
He was fun.
Yeah,
I liked him.
It's just like, it's really funny because just like the amount of different like characters. Like if you guys are just watching our videos and don't hang out in the Discord at all. I mean, I definitely just hang out in there. Just the sheer amount of just ridiculousness that happens with just. I mean, you do have to have a little bit of you have to go in understanding that you are on the internet. So there are always going to be a lot of internet isms that happen. But I also, I think it's just a great place to learn and bounce ideas off people. And just like we have such a varied amount of people on there, I mean, like you get the occasional RPXL, guy who just shows up to try and push a product, and not really about helping the group as a whole. But for the most part, I mean, even like I know Oswald, you like to say that Pao is the biggest villain, but Pao is also at least like when I first started. He was extremely helpful in getting me to understand stuff like pace. Him and Doc Holliday, who, by the way, this is all Doc Holliday's idea, including the tuxedo shirts. Well, he was actually going to wear a real tuxedo, but I thought that might be a little over the top. I did wear a suit, but he was talking about just wearing a tuxedo and doing this full-blown thing. But shout out to him if he's out there watching. But yeah, I mean, you just get a wide array of people, and handicapping styles, and I think like that's how you learn how to be better, is by being able to have people who look at races just so different than each other. What were you gonna say, Chase? You look like you.
Well, it's what's great about Discord is you have so many people popping in and popping out that you run into instances all the time where you just have to this fucking guy, what is this dude fucking talking about? And you listen long enough, and then finally you're just like, God, this fucking guy, he's at it again. Like with King of Deals posting those pictures of his girls who look slightly scared over and over again. This fucking guy. Good luck, King of Deals. Godspeed. Get a little mud on the
Godspeed.
Jack, you've been a little quiet over there. You got any comments on moment or villain? You talked about you already talked about B marks. Caleb, no, you talked about B marks already. Caleb, what about you? Anything about moment or villain you want to talk about?
I mean, I think I kind of touched on villain a bit. As far as Moment. That's a tough one. You guys hit the good ones with the Turfway stuff, and then with the B Mark score. There was a couple of works horses over the summer. I think were pretty solid.
Yeah,
there was
I do have Cummings on here.
No. I'm not talking about Cummings. Fuck Cummings.
Oh no, Cummings is my boy.
Yeah, Cummings is a horse that I did not use. That cost me money. Cove Blue is the one that sticks out in my mind. That had a just stupid fast workout. Very highly reviewed. Was in the last leg of an early pick 5 at Saratoga, I think, and had like a really strong workout review. And ended up, he was sitting at like 8 or 10 to 1 on the morning line. Ended up going off like 2 to 1 or something like that. Set some stupid fractions. Took a lot of pace pressure. Like everyone on Discord is sitting there like, oh, like this is shit. Like we're done. There's no way he holds. And the horse just found more. And it was, a nice way to cap off. Well, it wasn't a big pick 5. It was a little more, favorite heavy. But it was still a nice way to cap off a sequence that was, Saratoga is never easy, so it was a nice cap off to that to be able to get pretty skinny in a race like that and watch a horse that you have at 10 to 1 in the book go off at 2 to 1. But it was a good time for the Discord.
What about the Miata?
Ooh, Oswald.
Miata.
Yeah, that was a good day.
The day that Oswald fired 5 accurate shots from the school book depository to just blow the head off that pick 5, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
All right. So I'm going to be honest. I was working at that time. Well, at that time. And so I was going nuts going into it. And I was alive to 2 horses at the very end. It was one horse that was super, super hyped. I don't remember the name of the horse at all, but it had like an A-, B+, something like that on the works. And then I had another horse as a backup just in case. And of course, the backup's the one that won, and I think it was like 12 or 13 grand that it ended up cashing for, which I was stoked because the other one would have cashed for like 2 or 3 grand, which still is great, but 4 or 5 times as much I am way happier with.
And it was enough for a poor condition used.
Maybe even 2.
Can you even fit in a Miata?
No. I got 2,
Yeah,
and then I combined them.
He's gonna sit in the back seat though.
He's just riding over the top of the windshield, catching bugs the entire way.
You gotta get a convertible.
Exactly. Yeah, I got the convertible so I can sit up above. Yeah.
There you go.
We also had the Derby DQ written on here. I think we talked enough about that fucking thing that I don't want to bring it up. This is news, just so you know. I have not told this part of the story before. So for the Derby, I was actually in Grand Rapids, and my wife and we were going ahead and we were bouncing around from bar to bar to bar. Brewery actually. So we were going to all these craft breweries. And so finally, I'm like, look, we got to sit down somewhere. We got to watch this last race. I told her, I'm like, I've double checked like 5 times. I'm like, I think I'm live to the 4 favorites here. I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta sit down. We gotta watch this. So we walk over to New Holland Brewing's place in Grand Rapids. So we're walking, and I fucking kid you not, we're probably like 1,000 feet out, and out of fucking nowhere, a black cat jumps out, fucking crosses, stops right in front of me, fucking looks me dead in the eye, and walks away. And I turn to my wife. I'm like, that can't be good, right? And she's like, no, there's no such like that's just a bunch of bullshit. And then we all saw what ended up happening on that Derby DQ. Like I said before, I think we lost a small island. A small island was overturned. For the private Discord on that.
A private sex island was lost in that DQ.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I was at the Derby this year, and I've never seen 40,000 people as pissed off as the 40,000 people that waited in line for 20 minutes to cash a ticket that was no longer worth anything. So
I would have been terrified. If I had Country House and had a ticket to cash, I would have been like, all right, I'm going to come back to it.
There was actually a lady at the table next to ours who had I don't know exactly what she had. I don't know if it was like the super or she had something vertical in that race. And, this lady's like fucking 70 something years old, probably. Like, I don't think she knew what she had. And like her whole table just gets like stone quiet because she ended up having Country House on top. All of a sudden, like she shows it to like like an usher, an employee there who like runs and gets his boss, and like security immediately comes in, like grabs this like old lady and like escorts her into the back with her ticket and her whole like entourage. I'm just sitting there with my now worthless ticket with maximum security. Like,
Yeah, if I were there and would have known, I would have been just like throwing beers and popcorn at her like they were taking Ron Artest off the court.
Yeah, never in a million years would I have had Country House.
No.
The scary thing was I did actually have a pick 4 through Country House. I actually played the late because the leg before the Derby was a pretty chalky race, and then I bought the backside of the Derby because I knew I was live in a pick 5 to a pretty nice payout, and I ended up eating a B in one of the last 2 legs and knocked myself out of it. So yeah, because that ultra late would pay. I mean, the late pick 4 that had Country House and then was fairly chalky still paid like $6,000. So it would have been a nice payout. But yeah.
So the funny thing about Country House
Santana Jr. get home on a big shot like right after that race too. Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
Sucks for you.
Yeah. The funny thing about Country House is apparently once again the Barn podcast, one of the Matisse brothers actually was touting Country House, and like how every once in a while like you're sitting there and like you hear a very well-respected person, someone who knows what they're talking about, and they start touting a horse, but that horse is just like so far off your radar. You're like, this fucking person is crazy. There is no way I want any piece of the horse.
Yep.
And sure enough, I forgot what he ended up cashing. He cashed some fucking monster ticket.
Well,
but what was funny is the super actually paid really light for the way it finished, which
really
had
did.
a couple people upset. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous, though, because, I mean, very rarely does a closer win the Kentucky Derby, and he was a stone-cold closer from deep in the pack, and then he runs the Kentucky Derby as pretty much a presser.
yeah,
That pissed me off so
stone-cold
much.
closer in a paceless Derby, because besides maximum security after Omaha Beach scratched, there wasn't really anybody who really wanted to be on the lead. Maybe War Will wanted to be a little bit forwardly placed, but yeah, that was nuts.
The
look at that
way
race.
that race
Top of
should have been, the way it should have ended was Omaha Beach and Max Security going neck and neck down the stretch. Like that,
Yep.
I think that's the way it would have gone. And sorry to cut you off.
No, I was going to say was, I mean, you could see that, when you're talking about paceless race, look at that race at the top of the stretch. It was 10 wide. I mean, it touched everything you need to know about the fact that there was no pace in that race, and it just was an absolutely fluky thing. But, I was talking about Josh, you're talking about, whatever, villains of the year, downsides of the year. How about your Oaks Day? We're not going to talk about that?
Oh. Yeah. You probably lost the most money out of that, right, Pack?
Oaks Day? Oh, no, Oaks Day was phenomenal.
Oaks Day,
that was good.
Hit,
yeah, no.
Yeah, it was the pick 6 going into it.
No, I mean, quite honestly, Derby Day cost me $50,000. Roughly that on into that.
Roughly
but,
2 brand new Miatas.
Yeah.
Roughly, but I mean roughly that. It's hard to tell because you don't necessarily have Will Pays on the 2-day pick 6, but that's roughly. But yeah, no, I mean, Oaks Day was really good. I mean, I know Josh and I kind of cleaned house, and I figured Josh would tout up his Cummings.
that was the Cummings. And then, so the funny thing about Oaks Day is, we were sitting there. I was putting together a ticket, and I was like, man, at that point I think I'd had like a $9 ticket or something, and I just like wasn't feeling good about it, and I was like, I'm gonna cut this down. And eventually what I just ended up doing is I ended up throwing out all my B's except for the B's where I had Cummings. So I had all A's except for that Cummings race, and I had Cummings with a B. And then in the last race, I was going back and forth between being single to Bellafina or if I should include another horse. And Pac's just like, dude, like you gotta use Serengeti Empress. Look at the works on Serengeti Empress. And like sure enough, the works were fucking great. And he's like, you gotta use Serengeti Empress. So I'm like, all right. So I put Serengeti Empress on, and I look at it, and it ended up being a $24 ticket, and it was kind of like, oh man, just fuck it, like just put it in, because I had actually played a bigger pick 5 ticket that busted in the first leg. So I forgot who it was that lost in that first race. But yeah, the pick 5 ticket busted in the first race, and I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna fucking play my A's, toss in the B's in this race, and add on the Serengeti Empress for $24 ticket, and I paid like what, $4,300. That's fucking nuts, dude. I had to walk. I had to go out for a walk. I was like, did this really just happen? This is a fucking $24 ticket. You don't hit these things on $24 tickets. So it was fucking crazy.
All I can remember is you having that live and going to the last leg and being like, "Hey Josh, if Serengeti Empress pulls this off, you know you're live to this," and you just absolutely freaking out.
I was like, Jesus.
And it was sort of hilarious. You know?
I texted my brother. I texted my brother. He's like, "You're fucking kidding, right? That's where you're live to." I'm like, "No, I'm serious." And sure enough, I was like, I thought what's really funny is that I had that same feeling with that fucking rainbow pick 6. And I had like 3 horses left. Obviously, it come out as good since I whiffed on it. But yeah, that was just nuts, dude. Like I just couldn't believe. I was only live to 2 horses. I felt really good about Bellafina going into that race. I tossed in Serengeti Empress on the works, and the crazy thing about that weekend was those DRF works were just fucking on for every single race. Every single race that had a B+ in it, that horse just fucking ran off the screen. And sure enough, dude, Serengeti Empress got loose, and that was it. And that's the biggest payday I've had yet. So, yeah, that was fucking nuts, man. I still can't believe that came in.
Yeah, I had the pick 5 there, and I was more happy. You, Mr. being Mr. $2 exact kind of a thing. You're a smaller player. You're not playing, putting big money through, and you getting that home. Maybe that's probably was the highlight of my year. You getting that home and me just being like, oh man, that's awesome. That was so cool.
Speaking of highlight of the year, and the pack, this is like the exact opposite. You're being very positive, and this is me being very negative. But so me and Clamps actually went out to Saratoga, and the funniest thing happened. I actually this kind of was a good like summary of how Saratoga went for me when I was actually there. I wasn't live at this point, but both Clamps and Pack were live. Were you guys live in the pick 4 or the pick 5? What was it?
I think the one you were talking about was, I think Clamps was singled in the pick 5, and I was like 6 deep or something.
Were you 6 deep? I thought you were singled also, because you burned all your Bs. But I thought both you guys were singled to like a 4-5 Chad Brown horse in the last leg of this pick 5, and it was paying like $6,000 or something stupid. I forgot what it was. It was something nuts. Like I'm just like sitting here. I'm like, why the fuck didn't I tail these guys? Like, I can't believe it. And that fucking horse did not run a lick. And just the amount, I have never, like, we had been hanging out with Clamps like 2 days at that point. Like, just the absolute look of disgust on his face. And just him being like, fucking Chad Brown. You gotta be kidding me. We're live to the Chad Brown at 4-5. And this guy can't get the horse to fucking get out of the gate. Like, oh my god, dude. It was just fucking like, I just remember like we were just like all sitting there like real quiet for probably about 2 minutes after that. And, like, it was like, you guys want another beer? Like,
so what do we do now? Yeah, that's great, man.
Oh man,
we got any more hardware to hand out?
Depends. Do you want to accept this best red border award that we have lined up here?
Did I actually win it?
No, I don't think we actually.
Okay. In true red board fashion, yes, I will, and then I will post this video everywhere of me accepting this best red board. I had that horse.
I heard you had the jackpot red board twice.
We did talk about this a little bit about the worst beat. I know we already talked about maximum security for like fucking days. What about the fucking Belmont or the Belmont Jockey Club? Sorry, the Jockey Club Gold Club when they fucking DQ'd Vino Rosso. Like what fucking nonsense that was, huh?
I'm like you just said, Josh being a lower scaled better. I'm probably a little bit more on par with how Josh bets in terms of scale, and I was going to I'm like stepped up and made some swings that all ended with Vino, and I stood to make a bunch of money. And like that rate, like I had the shower running, I was watching the rest of the race, I was just about to hop in the shower and be like, fucking happily scrub that ass because I just made tons of money. And like I took like a 2-minute shower to hop out to see how much I had made, and then there's the objection thing, flashing, and I was just like, holy fucking shit, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? I to this day, if I ever see, it's the one name that I remember of stewards is Braulio. If I ever see Braulio streets, I'm gonna
brawl with Braulio.
Dude, I'm gonna cut him with a broken gin bottle. Like, fuck you, Braulio. Hell, the reason I picked Vino Rosso for the BC Classic was because fuck Braulio.
Oh man. Another funny thing is in here, I see a bunch of Tacitus being mentioned in here. Dude, like, what an awful. I can't believe that
The worst.
Oh my god. Every time, dude, that horse has found trouble, and everyone's like, oh, he had a trouble trip last time out. Like, he's got this time. Did you see how big he ran after he got out of the trouble? And then wasn't there the race where like his like nose hit the ground too? Just like
that was in the Jim Dandy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing you always talk about horses, and you talk about horses that sort of. There's a lot of people that like to trip handicap and they like to look for trouble trips. There's certain horses that invent their own trouble. He is the definition of a horse that makes his own trouble. He just every time I don't know how you consistently find trouble that badly. Just oh man, that horse just oh.
Could you imagine if like Paco Lopez or Luis Saez got on Tacitus, man? That's just like recipe for disaster, right?
Yeah.
Dude, how long will they DQ Saez for if they put him up on Tacitus?
The thing with Tacitus was the thing about Tacitus was like that was a horse that I never saw. I never saw it. I never got why people were all about Tacitus, but he was always so hyped. It was like, is this like, is he the lost like Ball brother? Is it like Lamangelo, Lonzo Ball, and then Tacitus? Like, does he have Lonzo Ball's dad out there like hyping him up, talking about how he's the best ever? Like, how do these garbage horses like always have so much hype? Who are these hype men out there?
I think it's a thing you get to a year like this year where you have a real weak 3-year-old crop, and then you're trying to find those horses that are legitimate. Like you're trying to, and I think as handicappers, you're trying to be ahead of the game. You're trying to know about a horse before it actually becomes legitimate, so you can get that price. I think everybody wanted to find that horse that would be the horse that was, that late season, that horse that comes into bloom, the ones that improves. And we were trying to invent it to be Tacitus, and we were obviously all not even close.
I try to get the jump on everyone. I'm looking at ultrasounds, for 3 years out. Kentucky Derby, just trying to figure out who's going to be the next horse out there. Who's looking good as a zygote.
Yeah, that's true.
For the record, I was never on Tacitus, but I was also never on, I think, any of the winners in the races.
I was on Tacitus going into the Derby, especially after hearing Beach not being able to go. Tacitus was he was one of the horses that seemed to have grit and fight, which obviously was wrong, but at the time it seemed like it could have been right.
Yeah, and I think
he really fought for second place.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, I was really on to him kind of starting in the Belmont, and then a couple of races after that, also going to the Jim Dandy. I wasn't as into him in the Derby. I was very on Max going to the Derby, but I was coming into later in the season. I didn't expect him to move forward, and I was really into him going on some of those later races, and he just never materialized. It's what it is.
So since we're already talking about Tacitus, we kind of mentioned most disappointing horse. I know Tacitus was definitely, I think, going to be my vote. We had listed a couple horses here. I'll just toss them out for posterity. We have McKinsey.
Honor code.
Honor code. Who the fuck? Code of honor. I mean. Newspaper of record.
Hidden scroll.
Hidden scroll. Yeah, hidden scroll's on here.
Improbable.
How about Instagram? Do you guys remember Instagram?
Oh man.
Yep.
Game winner.
Yeah.
Improbable.
The whole Bob Baffert barn. Let's just say the Bob Baffert barn.
I mean,
Catholic
Omaha
boy.
Beach.
Yeah.
Omaha Beach has to be on there too, right?
But not for lack of performance. He was just injury, so there was just like does absence equal disappointment? I guess would be the philosophical question there.
The last one on here, I only think is on here because of poor 6421.
No, it must be Yoshida.
Being single to Yoshida.
Oh, it has to be Yoshida.
Yoshida.
Oh man.
That's up there. It only applies to one person. I'd be for anything.
But dude, it was literally 5 races of just perfectly legendary handicapping. He wasn't crazy deep. I mean, he was a spready ticket, but just beautiful, perfect logic and thought out, and just a wonderful ticket structure. And then that last stupid fucking leg, you idiot! What are you doing,
You idiot?
Yeah, for the local yokels following at home, played the 2-day pick six across Breeders' Cup weekend, and was live going into the Breeders' Cup Classic. Single.
It wasn't a 2-day. That was just the Sunday. Or just the Saturday.
Oh, was that just a 1-day? Oh yeah, there was a carryover from the first.
There was a massive carryover.
Yeah, there was a carryover. So he played the pick six going into just from Saturday. Was live going into Yoshida, and not on a massive ticket, like a reasonable ticket. And I mean, I wasn't gonna knock him because I wasn't alive and he was, but I look at that and I'm like, how the fuck do you single Yoshida?
I believe he got a text message from, I forgot if it was his brother, but it was another fellow horse player. And I believe
it was his brother.
Was it his brother? And the text message was something like, "Single to Yoshida? Dude, you're fucking better than that." And I'm just like, oh no.
Oh
Man, that's rough. But yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to the most disappointing horse, I mean, I wouldn't say Tacitus just because of the fact that I didn't believe in the horse to begin with. So I'm not really too mad on that. I still think that if I had to pick one, I'd probably go somewhere between either Game Winner or Hidden Scroll. I mean, Game Winner didn't actually run all that bad in the Derby, considering, but just never came back after that. And Hidden Scroll, I think, was just mismanaged. Start.
Wasn't there a horse? I cannot remember the name right now, but I think it was a Todd Pletcher one in Saratoga. Got like straight up A's and A minuses works, and was bought for like over $1 million. Huge hype horse, and then ended up not running a lick in its like maiden whatever it was. I had a lot of money on that horse.
I want to say that's Fort McHenry.
I think so.
Yes, and that horse is still a maiden. It's been like 3 or 4 times in maiden company and is not won yet. And
even Bodie Express is won.
They paid big money for that horse. I think that horse is like a $5 million, like a $3 million purchase or something.
Last I saw, Fort McHenry lost as an MTO race that was washed off the turf. So
yeah, that was like a week or 2 ago.
Bad.
Right?
That's
well,
a big
end of Belmont, maybe.
I think it was around end of Belmont. Yeah, so that's rough. I think like how big of a disappointment these horses are depend on what you thought of them in the beginning. So like for me, like I was never, if you've listened to any of the streams, I was never a big Improbable fan. I was never a big McKenzie fan. I was never a big Hidden Scroll fan. I never believed that number in the slop anyway. The one that got me was Newspaper of Record. I mean, I thought this horse was going to be just a monster this year. I mean, just, she won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Phillies Turf by as many as she wanted to last year. And I just thought, Chad Brown, he's going to manage his horse well. She's going to be, just, the next Sister Charlie or Lady Eli or whatever have you. And that horse just did not develop at all into her 3-year-old season for whatever reason. And you can blame a little bit on the trainer. Tried to rate her and she didn't like that, but she even had a couple races where she had a lead and had a decent lead and still couldn't hold off the likes of Cambier Park or Concrete Rose. And I mean, that was definitely the horse that I was most excited for, that definitely disappointed the most in 2019.
Yeah. And I think part of the thing with that horse was with Chad, you always expect, he always has that next horse. There's always that next one, that next year younger, and you expect that next Lady Eli or whatever, Sister Charlie, or you expect that next horse, and that was the anointed one, right? Like, and the horse just never showed up. Like the horse never evolved from 2 to 3. Fig stayed flat. Everybody else got better, and the Concrete Roses of the world cleaned house. So yeah, that was I think legitimate there.
Lady Aurelia sucks too.
We haven't. I just thought of a horse that that could be a bad beat of the year. That's very Stream Team exclusive. No one has mentioned the words American Butterfly. The first time we get on the stream, very first race we talk about, we go on and on about these different horses, and Cherry's like, what about this American Butterfly? $1 million American Pharaoh baby purchase that Dwayne Lucas was training, and he was doing garbage 2-year-olds, and we probably spent 30 to 45 minutes talking about how Dwayne sucks with 2-year-olds. We just don't see this happening. And then flash forward to the next day, the gates open and American Butterfly fucking sprouts wings and just like dusts this field. And it's like, well, there went all of our credibility in one
Yeah, I think I'm actually on the record as saying something effect like, like Dwayne Lucas is like 0 for 60 in his last, first time starter with 2-year-olds. Like, if he goes 1 for 61, I'll let him beat me.
I was right there with you.
We all know how that ended.
Beat you, all right.
Yep.
Oh man. So we've had a couple of new people show up in the Discord. We did put up a little rookie of the year here voting. The 2 people that got the most notoriety on here, I think both are very very worthy of talking about. Wolf, do you want to talk about your protege?
My protege? Are we talking about Amazon?
Yeah, we're talking about Childish Gambino.
Childish Gambino, my West Coast bureau chief, justpickwinners.com. Just want to put that in there. Man, the kid just knows West Coast horses. Like, if it comes to Santa Anita, Del Mar, first of all, we need to say, like, when we talk about rookie of the year, not only is he like kind of a rookie to Discord and the handicapping, but also life. The motherfucker can't legally buy a beer thing. Like, he is wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac young, and he does really well with West Coast horses and just gets horse racing in general. It's someone that, like, I would do my tip sheets for Del Mar, and it was like, those horses that I missed that I'd kick myself for not having or for not seeing, or he'd have it. He just gets it in terms of like track bias, in terms of how pace is playing, reading the form. So very much worth worth a mention, and in my heart and mind, rookie of the year for sure.
I mean, the dude just gets fucking West Coast, and it. I mean, maybe it's just more impressive to me because I am fucking atrocious on the West Coast. Like, I thought I was bad, like capping Belmont, Aqueduct, and Saratoga, but I'll tell you what, man, I am fucking bad at the West Coast. Like, I took a look at my year-long stats, and it's like if I only stuck with the tracks that exist within Illinois and Kentucky, like I'd be sitting pretty right now. But the man, yeah, he just gets it. And like, you know, he's had a couple of real big scores at the Del Mar meet. Yeah, I mean, and the thing I like about him is he's very active. You ask him questions, and you know, he's always willing to talk about his picks and things like that. But at the same time, like, you can just completely fucking just trash his picks and just like talk shit to him, and he's just like, you know, he goes ahead and he you know, he just fucking rolls with it. So he's just a real chill guy. Like yeah, I think that he's been a huge addition to this year.
Yeah, he did have one of the worst and funniest beats of all time too, with that cash keeper at the very end.
I forgot about that.
That has to be up there.
That was like a 4-horse race, right? And
he had to get top 3.
He had to get top 3, and it was like was it the money line favorite or was it the second favorite?
I don't remember what, but I know that he should have won.
You just had to beat one fucking
Oh, I feel bad if you're watching this, Amazon,
God,
but
dude.
it was kind of funny now looking back on it.
Dude, he was counting his money, dude. He was fucking
yeah,
Vegas
I
in the
would be
Mirage,
too.
dude. He was just like, dude, he's like, fucking get this shit in.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good moment in Discord history, I think.
Looking back, I bet she laughs on that now. But yeah, that's
I
a
think
rough beat.
It was like what, $600 or something. Like it was a pretty decent cash keeper too. Oh
yeah,
fucking rough.
I mean, I agree. Like, Amazon's been awesome. I got to give, a shout out to all the California guys. I don't particularly love California racing that much, but they're such a.
But check out his picks on was it Past the Wire, or what's that website that you do the West Coast picks for?
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, like, they're such a good bunch of dudes. Like, they make you want to play West Coast tracks. Even, I don't play Los Al, only quarters. But like Santa Anita and Del Mar, like, they're a good bunch of dudes. Like, they're always have good insight. Always can learn something from them. So, Amazon, Dave Murphy, the whole gang out there is always, Lizard, a few others are always fun to bullshit with about the West Coast racing.
Dave went on an ungodly streak like just a couple months ago, like leading up until he played that leading into him playing that live bank tournament, where it was like every single day he was hammering like pick 4s and pick 5 on like $8 tickets in just like true, Rider Dave fashion. He might be the best human being on Discord. Like, I love Dave more than anyone.
No, he is the best human being. He's just a wonderful person, and
Yes.
And just scary good. He had a role there that was just absolutely disgusting, where he was just printing money. And just a solid guy. And also, Dave is one of those guys who, you ask him a question, he'll spend an hour explaining something to you. He'll sit down and explain very intricately what he's seeing, why he's seeing it, how he's playing it. And honestly, Amazon's the same way. I think a lot of those Cali guys, I'm not a big Cali guy, and that's not my scene at all. I do terrible out there, just like Josh. But Amazon and Dave both are guys that'll sit down and you ask a question, and hey, why are you on this? This doesn't make a lot of sense, and they'll spend the time to really explain it to you. And I think that's what's cool about Discord, is people who will spend that time, approach handicapping differently than you do, and will really help you through the mental process that why they got to something.
It was an injustice of me to leave TXGI out of that California group, so I have to make that mistake.
True.
Did he mention that to you? Hold on a second. Let me.
He's like, I don't know. He's got like a Gary Busey kind of just like insane quality to him that cracks me up. He and I went off the deep end with DL Goff Jr. last night.
I bet.
Dude, the funny thing about TX is that, like, there's times where you're just like, this motherfucker is just trolling right now. What the fuck is wrong with him? And then all of a sudden, dude, out of nowhere, it's just like this fucking very sage piece of advice. Like,
Yes.
it's like it's just like what the fuck just
Moments
happened?
of clarity.
Yeah, it's just like, is he sober right now? Like, what is going on? Like,
The scary thing is you hang out with the guy and he's the exact person that you expected from talking with him on Discord. He's identical in real life to how he is there. It's just like very smart, very articulate, but just like crazy, like off the wall most of the time. And then these just moments of clarity where he's just completely, you're like, dude, like what's your deal? Like, but he's the nicest guy in person. And I had a blast hanging out with him at Los Al with him and his brother that one night. Just had just a cool, like, fun time. Super chill. Just great guy.
do you guys remember the movie Old School where fucking Will
Before my
Ferrell?
time.
Will Ferrell is just like sitting there like at the debate club or whatever, and he just like hold on a second. He has a little drink of water.
And he
fucking
out-debates James Carville.
yeah. He gives the fucking perfect thing. He's like, "What happened? I blacked out." Yep, that's TXGI right there.
He and I one of the most pleasurable 2 hours of this year for me was Forrest Gump was on the Paramount channel on cable, and he and I led like a 2-hour discussion about the greatness of Forrest Gump and the shittiness that is Jenny and Forrest Gump. Like, it's just he's amazing. I love the guy. He's great.
Since we were actually we were speaking about rookies, the other one that came to mind was our boy 6421, who I think is it's just been he's just been fucking fun, just with just the random shit that he'll say about jockeys, just helping organize stuff like the I know King of Deals helped a little bit or was the main point of contact, but helping get like the word out on the like tournaments and just like always in the Naira channel, just fucking helping out and just fucking giving out Joey Martinez and Lane Luzzy bombs left and right. So yeah, it's just been really fun. Like he's another one. He's like sometimes I hear him say something, I'm like, you're fucking crazy, and then next thing you know, the horse is just fucking winning by 4 lengths. I'm like, what the fuck are you? What did you see? Like, what is he going on? He's like, I don't know. I had lunch with so and so, and he told me he really liked this horse. It's like, motherfucker, like.
He's also what's great about him is how steadfast he is in his opinion too. Once he sees that horse, like he's gonna swing and he's gonna swing big, and he hits him whenever he swings big too. He's definitely worth a vote for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, it feels weird calling him a rookie given the fact
Right.
he's been around the game for a while.
Yeah, but he's new to the Discord,
Yeah.
so
He's been a good ad.
He's a cool guy too. He's got a lot of industry inside contacts due to what he does for his job. So he a lot of times has information that's not really public and that's very interesting. Oh, such and such was out partying last night, so it's super hungover. Oh, hey, and there was a few times where he said that about a jock, and you realize they rode shit all day, and you're like, oh, hey, that's kind of interesting, cool inside information that you wouldn't have gotten any other way, and he's got a lot of that kind of stuff that's pretty cool, and he's a really solid guy, great guy. Super helpful. One of those people that have bent over backwards to help anybody or to hit out information. And I have a very entertaining back and forth with him on that. Him being a little stressed out live to Yoshida between the last 2 races of the Breeders' Cup. The two of us going back and forth about how do you hedge this, and us coming up with some hedges was quite interesting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Casino where Joe Pesci is talking about Ace's background. He's like, he didn't even know if the quarterback was on coke. Like that's sort of information that 6421 has.
So the funny thing, I don't know if you guys saw this today. He was, I forgot what race he was talking about. Some race at Aqueduct. He's like, he's from South Jersey. He's gonna try and steal it. And I'm like, fuck, man, he must hate people from South Jersey, like thinking that they're like fucking crooks or something. He's like, no. He's like, why would the guy fucking drive that far for this race unless he was actually gonna win? I was like, dude, I thought that there was some like weird, like all the criminals live in South Jersey, so this guy's coming up here to fucking rob Aqueduct or something. Oh man. So I know we already talked about TX a bit. We did nominate him in one of our side little categories here of entertainer of the year. As we kind of already mentioned, you like, I don't know, you fucking just like show up. Like I've shown up home from like some of my shows or something like that. It's like fucking 1 o'clock in the morning. Couple drinks in, I fucking sit down. And there's fucking TX, dude, having some fucking conversation with himself. Or just fucking having some conversation with himself. Or he's just fucking yelling at Nafi while Nafi's just sitting there fucking firing away at
and Aussies.
at Aussies, and just every other word is fuck. Like he's like, oh, the four at Eagle Farm. Fuck. Like it's every. But yeah, I mean
he's okay, so he's not around as much, but you've got to consider Pump Up the Yams for Entertainer of the Year. My boy Pootie, because I don't know how you execute comic timing on Discord, but somehow he does it. It's like he sits there like with bated breath over the enter, and it's like, just like, this is the moment that I want to drop this on you, and I'm gonna just shock the world with how funny this is. Bam! Like he's great. I'm gonna blow him up and give him his Christian name, but yeah, Clark's a friend that I've made through Discord that he makes me laugh every time I talk.
Dude, like you'll just be sitting there randomly, and like there'll be a discussion coming on, and then all of a sudden it's just like a very fucking on the point like dad joke reference, and you're like, dude, this is literally the first thing you've typed all fucking day, and you just come in fucking hot.
Yeah, he's also one of those guys that's super, super helpful as well. He's definitely somebody that'll take that time, help out a newer person, hey, point you in the right direction, give you the information you need to too. So I know he did really well in the what was it, the category we had that was most helpful user. He did quite well in there as well. So I mean, it says a lot about somebody's character when they can drop cool bombs and they have those great one-liners, but also they're somebody that gets a lot of votes and helpful user.
And you got to give him credit for how fast he's progressed as a handicap. Because when he joined, like, he could have been if we were doing this last year, he would have been in discussion for Rookie of the Year.
Yep, agreed.
Because what was the horse that he had at Belmont in a big race? It was Discreet Lover last year. That 30-1 shot that he talked me through. It wasn't like he was just like throwing darts. He's grown enough that he can talk intelligently about this stuff and really help people out, like just an all-around class act.
Yeah.
Stalking the grounds of Northville Down.
Apparently he also had Sir Winston in the Belmont, so apparently him and Belmont just make a lot of sense.
Belmont sucks.
Yeah, dude, fuck. Put any money through that track. Another person we had up here for it. Our boy Evil Bob Dole.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Like, I'll tell you what, if there was an award for most patient person of the year, I think I'd have to give it to Evil Bob Dole. Because like sometimes like just some fucking nonsense will be going on in Discord. And he'll just come in and be like the voice of reason over everything. And just like I'll say something like in PMs to him or something. Come back. Very like well thought out, like good, like description, like plans it all out, and then next thing you know, he's making like dick and fart jokes and fucking
Yeah.
in Discord, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he literally sent Mark a shirt with Morticia on it, and myself a shirt with Voodoo Song. Not Voodoo Song. I'm sorry, Zulu Alpha. Yeah, as the two horses we talk shit on that ended up winning that day. So that's a special level of troll and commitment that I have to give credit where it's due. But yeah, he's been always interesting guy. You never know what you're gonna get, and that makes it interesting.
Jesus, I've drank like half a liter of Kahlua.
That's
So
it.
that equates to like
How much-
1 beer.
Yeah, I know. That's not a lot of alcohol in that thing.
No one should ever say that ever. That shouldn't be a thing that you should be able to say.
We make do with what we have.
I think we also got to mention our boy Ovink St. Pierre for coming up with the IRAD shirt.
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude! I wonder how many of those he printed out.
A lot, because they were everywhere. I know they appeared at Saratoga, and Arad saw them at Saratoga and thought it was awesome. And yeah, it's pretty cool. That sort of went everywhere. I know Brandon was Brandon got one and he was showing it to Arad, and Arad thought it was the coolest thing ever.
that's so
And like
funny.
it turned into a really cool thing. So it was very, very, very cool on him.
Fucking
Yeah.
Arad with the fuck my shit up fam haircut.
Pretty good.
The salad bowl chop.
Yeah.
I wonder if he does it on purpose, just so like it doesn't look like he has money.
It's like a troll haircut. It's got to be like there's no reason you cut your hair that way other than to be a troll, right?
Dude, if he had that haircut in like the 90s and was on a sitcom, he'd be like the fucking what's the guy, JTT or whatever, same haircut, right, with the little part in the middle, fucking bowl. No, yeah, never
Before
mind.
my time.
Before your
Before my time as well.
how's that
Yeah.
before your time? You're
I
fucking
was
old as
born
shit
in the
over there.
90s. Yeah.
Let's see who else we got on. I think we covered every.
So at last check, we had 49 entrants into tomorrow Discord tournament. So and the
Hell
push
yeah.
for
Oh
the
yeah,
push for $1,000. Let's get there, man. Let's get a lot in this pot and throw down.
Yeah.
I haven't actually
It's
entered.
at 49 right now. 49.
yeah. And in case you
Yeah.
guys don't know, we do have a Discord tournament on horse tourneys. I think the link's in Reddit as well.
Derby Wars.
Or Derby Wars, sorry. Derby Wars. So $11 entry, $10 of it goes to the prize pool. And I think we're capping out at like 400. Something stupid. We're not going to get to that, but we're going to try and get to 100. Cap of 3 of entries. All Tampa and Aqueduct tomorrow. So 4 races from each.
I think it's 5 and 3.
5 and 3,
Yeah,
5 at Aqua,
five
and 3 in
and
Tampa.
Go looking
Yeah,
at bikinis.
Aqueduct has that big card with the Cigar Mile, obviously being the major race, which is has a really, really deep field. But there's also a couple of with the Remsen, one of the stakes races there as well. So there's some legitimate stakes at Aqueduct. And and then we wanted to get a couple of turf races, so we pulled a couple of Tampa Bay turf races, just to give some people some variety, so that we're not into I understand not everybody loves turf or loves dirt racing, so a couple Tampa races as well. So they're in the races we tried to pick were deep ones where you could get outside of the top 3 and you could find a price that you really want to get behind. So it's a fun thing. There's a couple ringers in here with Caleb and Murphy, but beyond that, it's not too crazy deep. So it's fun, and also we're paying out top 3 this time. So it makes it it's a fun for an $11 play-in. It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to read off some names here in entertaining fashion of people who've already signed up.
I still
X
can't
Hamp
believe we
is
all
in
had
the
that
house.
fucking horse.
Pack Rat is in the house.
Dude, how did we all have that horse?
No, not all of us have that horse.
Wow.
How did most of us have
How,
that
how are
horse?
you the only one who did?
Which horse?
We all managed. So in the last tournament, we had a 1-2-3 stream team finish with Caleb, Cherry, and myself, and all three of us hit the same bomb horse, and it's just like a no name horse and a no name maiden special weight race, and we, it went off at probably 25 to 1, and like Caleb was so jacked because he was so certain that no one else had the horse, that as it's like hit the wire and and it's clear that he's gonna win, just like an aggressive all caps later nerds. And then I was like, I had it, and then Cherry's like, yeah, I had it too, and yeah, he still held us off, but fuck, man, like,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
I mean,
like it.
the part that kills me is there was like 2 or 3 bombs that hit earlier in the sequence that
And
nobody
no one
in the
had.
tournament had. Like out of like 50 entries or something like that, nobody had. And then finally a bomb comes in. I have. It's like, yes, like this is it. I can't lose. And somehow, like, it wasn't just the 3 of us. There were, I think, 1 or 2 other people that had that horse. But yeah, I had to sweat it out in the last race.
Damn, that's fun.
That's a rough beat for Jerry. I think you had the Mac and Bullet in that last race who
Yep.
got nosed out for the place. I don't know if that would have given you enough, but it probably would have had she got up.
Yeah, dude, I was all in the Mac and Bullet, and I was actually really, really excited to see that horse run again on the turf, and yeah, it was just wasn't meant to be. And of course, it's like, what did it pay out? We had 48 people last time. Is that what we had?
It paid $580, so we probably had
Jesus
59 or 60 people.
And of course, we did winner take all because we didn't think that we'd get that many people. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, like that's a fucking hefty prize.
Which once again goes to the persistence of 6421, because he was big and hyped getting that tournament so big, and it was such a fun day too.
Yeah, definitely.
Who ended up winning that tournament?
Caleb.
I was. Oh, okay. Hey, good
I
work.
had, dude, just the sickest feeling when like Caleb was just ahead of me, and the pick that I had, I knew that there's no way I could catch him, and then my fucking alternate won, and like I would have left everybody in fucking dust. It would have been me yelling later nerds, but
That's okay. It's gonna be me tomorrow. Later.
Oh, there it is.
When I win. Yeah.
you'll have to crouch down so I can hear it. You'll just be yelling.
Yeah, it's hard to hear me when I'm speeding by in my Miata.
That's for some reason plays the
Later,
Dukes of Hazzard
nerds.
Dixie horn beat.
Yep.
Of course, Murphy has 3 entries, so yeah.
Yeah, dude, I think he's like,
he's
he
gonna
was
go first, second,
upset.
and third.
So we did have Handicapper of the Year as a votable category. We decided to exercise our veto power on this one because for some reason the person who won this award thought was extremely undeserving, had absolutely no business winning this award.
I don't know if I put it that way, but
but
there was an executive decision made that the different winners should be chosen.
Yeah, so I actually my vote actually ended up going to B Marks because of just the fucking amazing job he did. He did all fucking year, and just the huge set of balls that he has on him. The single that
Stan Marsh balls.
Yeah, dude. I mean, fucking just that one hit alone. What was it, 30K or whatever? Like
32.
Jesus Christ. But like you'll just like see every once in a while he'll post a ticket. He'd be like, "Oh, I'm hammering this double," and it's just like you're like looking, you're like, are we looking at the same races? Like, are you sure? And sure enough, dude, the fucking like, even if the horse doesn't win, the horse is like fucking like flying late for second. You're like, what the fuck? Like, what? How did you see that? And yeah, I mean, I think he does a really fucking good job. Him and I think Sammy Meatballs, who posts every once in a while. Um, both of them just like fucking at Naira. Like if they say something, you got to pay attention.
Yeah, I mean the one for me is Murphy. And I think we can throw it in here that Murphy wins handicapper of the year. But going away, guy had a BCCC entry, and he's got two. And he's got two. NHCC entries as well. I mean, the guy is, when you talk about that, you talk about the quality of the people that are playing in those. You're talking the top 1% of handicappers are targeting those kind of tournaments. And this guy's got multiple entries in them. He's a legitimate, classy guy who is playing those big tournaments that you're talking, 6-figure, 7-figure payout kind of stuff. And he's extremely talented at that. I think Murphy is very, very, very talented, very extremely talented tournament player. And you can't give enough props to the guy. He's very, very good, and he's also the same kind of guy who, you ask him a question, he'll sit down and spend an hour explaining where he came from, why he came there, how he got there, and what his logic was. And to me, Murphy is very deserving of handicapper of the year.
Yep, he made all these big tournaments, and you can buy your way into those tournaments, and that is not how Murphy did it. Murphy won his way in, so he had to. You've got some really top-notch horse players that are all trying to win these tournaments, win their way in, and he did it the right way because he won his way in, and he's playing basically with tens of thousands of dollars of house money to try to win these tournaments. So I will second the motion for Murphy on the handicap of the year.
Actually, I also do want to toss one other handicapper out who had a fucking just crazy year, and that's got to be Gus, who's Oving St. Pierre's friend. I don't know if you guys have seen him. If you guys have seen a picture of him, but he's the African American fellow with the mohawk that hangs out with Oving Saint Pierre, and he picks horses by names, and it's just the best horse name picker I've ever seen. So shout out to Gus. Gus, thank you. The other night, I forgot who I was. I think I was a couple drinks in, and I messaged Saint Pierre. I'm like, hey, who's Gus like here? And sure enough, fucking Gus came up with the winner. So I don't know what that guy knows, but he fucking knows. He knows names, man.
Plus Gus Parfait.
A different Gus, but close enough.
Close enough.
But I do agree. Murphy had a hell of a year. Got the 2 NHC seats. I also do want to give a shout out to our boy Mr. Middle Move, Brian, for seemingly securing his NHC seat.
Did he
the
get
hard
it?
way? The hard way.
Got it.
Got
it.
He
ground it out. He ended up being in top 50 of not qualified. So, a shout out to him.
Yeah.
I think his website's themiddlemove.com. He does a Midwest podcast. He's always he's in Discord. Hit him up.
That's such a great podcast name. I have no idea, but it is fantastic.
Yeah, and also his podcast is phenomenal. If you listen to it, it's he gives some amazing quality content. He covers specifically Midwestern racing. That's his world, and it's just great content. You can sit back, listen to it, and really learn something. He's not somebody who's just kind of fluffery and talks in favorites. So great stuff. He's and a great guy as well.
I do want to note one thing.
Ever hear.
All right, we played this Hawthorne tournament. He played 2 days. He played Friday and Saturday. I only played Friday, and I got knocked out relatively early. I took a couple early shots, didn't get there, and so I was just kind of advising him a little bit, and we were talking back and forth and stuff like that. He did significantly better on Friday when I was there than Saturday when I wasn't there. So I just want to toss that out there. All right, I don't know if it means anything, but
It doesn't.
He's got the
It doesn't.
He's got the voice of a late shift R&B radio station DJ, just like the guy that comes on at like 2:00 in the morning. It's like, for all you lovers out there, this is the Quiet Storm.
Hey, this is Dr. Smooth.
Storm.
Welcome to the
Yeah.
Quiet Storm. The lightning, thunder, all this.
Yeah, is there really anything else you guys want to talk about this past year? Anything that really stuck out to you guys?
We've been on for 2.5 hours now, so
Yeah,
I think we fucking.
I think we covered about everything. Want to give another quick shout out once again to the tournament tomorrow. We're going to be covering all the stakes races at Aqueduct, I believe, and then a couple of turf races at Tampa. $11 entry. It's on Derby Wars. If you need the link, it's on Reddit. It's on our Discord. Shout out once again to our boy Brian and the Middle Move. He gives us a shout out. Shout out to our boy Dennis Trusty, and Caleb's work. What's that website that you do that writing for, Caleb, every once in a while?
That's the Daily Gallop.
Daily
if you
Gallop.
guys
Yeah,
are
so
there.
shout out to Dennis over there at Daily Gallop for showing up and always coming out here and supporting us. And he says max security for some reason. He wants to... Dude, Dennis, you missed the fucking like half hour where we just bitched about max security. Just watch it on repeat, man. We fucking ran that into the ground. So shout out to Daily Gallop. And if you guys need links to our Discord, they're here in the comment section or the info section. We'll probably be pretty light the next month, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I know I tossed around the idea of doing some Hong Kong stuff, and we'll see. We'll see how Turfway goes. If we continue to slay Turfway, we might do some Friday night Turfway stuff with whiskey and firing away there.
And then shout out to justpickwinners.wixsite.com. What?
Oh yeah. Yeah, had the pick six how many times yesterday?
19. He hit that jackpot 19 times. Remington had to go into it.
Yep, shout out to the Wolf and his Just Pick Winners. You can get it for free on discord.com/. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening. Oswald, thank you for showing your face, and I look forward to taking your money tomorrow in the tournament in your first action back in a couple of months. So
Ouch.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Tomorrow when Cherry is dragged by the ankle.
Dragged by the what? You went a little quiet.
Dragged by the ankles behind a Miata that Oswald is driving.
Oh goodness, yeah, dude. He's gonna fucking
There we go.
Dude, I could probably put a pretty good dent in the Miata, if he hit me. I'm a pretty sizable individual. So, all right, guys. Well, we're on the wrong lead, and thank you guys for tuning in.